Hey everyone. Welcome back to the Soul Harmony channel. Hope you're all doing amazing today. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share.
On a lonely countryside road, Delilah Ward drives, the headlights piercing the inky blackness, her weary face illuminated. 1 week of peace, Delilah murmurs, her voice barely audible above the hum of the engine. The GPS abruptly announces, "You have arrived." Delilah grips the steering wheel tightly, her knuckles white as she navigates the final stretch of the deserted road. The car slows, the darkness thickening around her as she anticipates what awaits at her destination. The Victorian house stands tall against the dark sky, a silhouette of neglect and forgotten stories. Overgrown grass crawls around the foundation, a testament to years of solitude. Delilah gazes up at the dilapidated structure, its windows like vacant eyes staring back. With a mix of resignation and resolve, Delilah says, "Not charming, but it'll do." In the dimly lit Victorian house, Delilah enters, her camera gear in tow, the air thick with the scents of old wood and lavender. Silence descends as she closes the heavy door, the soft click echoing around her. She pauses, enveloped in a sense of quiet anticipation. Shadows dance along the walls, stirred by the faint moonlight filtering through aged windows. The house seems to breathe, its secrets held within the aged timbers and faded wallpaper. Delilah takes a breath, ready to capture the house's hidden stories through her lens. Delilah lies in her bed, drifting in the soft space between sleep and wakefulness, her features serene under the dim light. The Victorian bedroom is still, draped in shadows, with the only sound the gentle rhythm of Delilah's breathing. A faint click pierces the silence, sharp and unexpected, instantly shattering the tranquil atmosphere. Delilah's eyes snap open, wide with sudden alertness, the peacefulness of sleep abruptly banished. She jolts upright in bed, every muscle tense as she strains to identify the source of the unsettling sound. The darkness of the room seems to deepen, filled with unseen possibilities and the growing sense of unease. Delilah steps into the Victorian hallway, shadows clinging to every corner. An unsettling silence fills the air, broken only by the creaks of the old house. She scans the hallway, her eyes darting, a sense of unease growing. A desk stands against the wall, her camera resting on its surface. Delilah approaches the camera, her fingers brushing against the cold metal. A jolt of surprise flickers across her face. The lens cap is still on. In the dim Victorian bedroom, Delilah checks her phone, unaware of the terror about to unfold. A new photo flashes onto the screen. Delilah, sleeping peacefully, taken just 1 minute ago. The screen's cold light casts a ghastly pallor on her face, revealing the raw fear blooming in her eyes. No, absolutely not," Delilah whispers, her voice trembling in the stillness of the night. Under a bright, unforgiving sun, Delilah arrives at the weathered sheriff's office, its facade a silent testament to the town's secrets. The harsh sunlight casts long shadows as Delilah steps out of her car, her gaze fixed on the entrance of the office. Dust swirls around her boots as she walks towards the sheriff's office, her determination cutting through the stillness of the day. The weathered sign of the sheriff's office looms closer as Delilah approaches, the silence broken only by the distant hum of the town. Delilah pauses before the entrance, her hand hovering over the doorknob, a deep breath preceding her entry into the unknown. With a resolute push, Delilah opens the door, stepping into the dim interior of the sheriff's office, ready to confront whatever awaits. Inside the sheriff's office, Delilah faces Sheriff Rowe, his weary eyes hinting at countless cases and years of experience. Case files overflow on Sheriff Rowe's desk, a testament to the relentless nature of law enforcement. Sheriff Rowe directs an accusatory question at Delilah. He questions her about the break-in. Delilah retorts sharply, "Sheriff, I photograph crime scenes for a living. I know what a break-in looks like." Sheriff Rowe slumps in his worn leather chair, a sigh heavy with resignation escaping his lips. His gaze meets Delilah's across the cluttered desk, a blend of concern etched on his face. "Strange noises, missing items, lights turning on, that sort of thing," Sheriff Rowe says, his voice laced with fatigue. Delilah scoffs dismissively, her skepticism hanging palpably in the air. The weight of the unsolved mystery deepens the lines on Sheriff Rowe's face. In the Victorian living room, Delilah seeks solace with tea, but dim light amplifies the room's shadows and intricate details. An unsettling quiet hangs heavy, the ornate Victorian decor unable to mask the underlying tension. A chilling criacay pierces the silence, the sound echoing ominously through the old house. A sense of dread intensifies as the sound lingers, hinting at unseen disturbances within the house. The shadows deepen, stretching and twisting, as the source of the sound remains a mystery. A fearful realization dawns. The basement door, a gateway to the unknown, stands ajar. In the Victorian house, Delilah cautiously approaches the basement door, her silhouette framed by dim light. An unseen presence whispers her name, Delilah. A cold breeze emanates from the dark opening, carrying a sense of unease and mystery. The heavy door creaks open slightly, revealing only shadows. Delilah hesitates, her breath misting in the chilling air. Her hand trembles as she reaches for the doorknob, drawn by an unknown force. Delilah slams the basement door, the reverberating sound echoing her desperate act. Frantically, she shoves a chair against the door, scraping sounds piercing the silence. Exhaustion lines her face, a stark map of her relentless fear. She refuses to rest, her eyes wide, haunted by the shadows of the night. Every creak and groan of the Victorian house amplifies her growing dread. Afternoon light drapes the Victorian living room as Delilah pores over stacks of photographs, her brow furrowed in concentration. Each photograph whispers tales of past cases, their stories etched in faded ink and shadowed corners. A sudden, chilling realization dawns as she pauses, a prickle of unease crawling up her spine. In the periphery of each image, a dark, indistinct shadow lurks, a silent observer in every scene. Barely perceptible, yet undeniably present, the shadow hints at a presence beyond the visible. Delilah's eyes narrow, the weight of the unseen pressing down on her as she confronts the lurking darkness. Inside the Victorian house, sunlight streams into the living room, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Delilah's gaze is fixed on a shadow, an unnatural darkness stretching across the ornate wallpaper. The shadow looms tall and grotesquely thin, twisting into a shape that defies the familiar. A sense of dread fills the room, the air growing heavy as the shadow seems to deepen. Delilah's heart pounds in her chest, a primal fear gripping her as she confronts the unsettling form. Sunlight floods the Victorian bedroom, illuminating the scene as Delilah kneels, surrounded by scattered papers. Delilah delicately sifts through personal items, her expression a mix of curiosity and apprehension. She spots the photo from last night, a flicker of recognition crossing her face. Delilah's eyes widen, drawn to a sinister detail lurking in the image. In the corner of the photo, the shadow looms, ominously closer than before. A chill permeates the room as Delilah grasps the growing threat. Delilah stands before the grand Victorian house, its ornate details a stark contrast to the turmoil within her. Suitcases cluster around her feet, silent witnesses to a journey about to begin. Packing finished, a moment of stillness descends as she pauses, caught between worlds. Her gaze drifts towards the distant tree line, a silent pull towards the unknown. A figure emerges from the shadows of the trees. Ian, his presence a haunting question. He stands silently, watching, his gaze a mix of longing and unspoken words across the distance. Ian stands tense at the tree line, a silhouette against the backdrop of the Victorian house. His face is etched with urgency, a silent scream trapped within. He gestures wildly, a desperate attempt to halt an unseen figure. "Miss, don't go back in the house," Ian cries, his voice a desperate plea against the looming darkness. A weathered Victorian house looms against the tree line, shadows stretching like grasping fingers under the cold light. Ian faces the ominous house, his expression a mix of dread and resolve. "This house, it chooses lonely, tired people," Ian whispers, his voice barely audible against the wind. He continues, his words heavy with sorrow. "It shows them what they fear most." A chilling revelation. "My sister, she disappeared here," he says, his gaze fixed on the dark windows. Delilah and Ian enter the Victorian house. An oppressive stillness hangs in the air, heavy with unseen dread. Shadows flicker and dance at the edge of vision, a subtle unease creeping through the ornate hallway. An unseen energy permeates the space, a tangible sense of foreboding pressing in from all sides. Ian's voice cuts through the silence, a stark warning against the encroaching darkness. "It feeds on fear," he says, his words echoing in the hallway. "Don't show it any." Delilah's eyes dart around, trying to pierce the gloom as she grapples with mounting fear. In the dim basement, an old wooden chair sits askew, bathed in a single shaft of sunlight. Dust motes dance, illuminating the unsettling shift in the room's silent narrative. Ian's voice breaks the quiet, a grim realization dawning. This is where it keeps them. The air grows heavy with unspoken dread, the shadows deepening around the ominous chair. In the Victorian house's basement, an eerie glow emanates from the depths, casting long, distorted shadows. A pale hand reaches up from the darkness, fingers trembling as if grasping for salvation. The air hangs heavy with dust and the scent of decay, a silent testament to forgotten stories. A faint, desperate whisper echoes through the chamber. "Help me." The plea hangs in the air, unanswered, swallowed by the oppressive silence of the ancient house. Each creak and groan of the house seems to amplify the sense of isolation and dread. In the silent, cavernous basement of the Victorian house, Delilah raises her camera, the air thick with anticipation. Snap! The flash pierces the darkness, a brief, sharp burst that shatters the stillness. For a fleeting moment, the basement is bathed in stark light, revealing a horrifying tableau. Dozens of figures stand frozen, like statues trapped in time, their stillness unnerving. Their eyes are wide, unblinking, reflecting a terror that transcends the moment. Each face is a mask of surprise, a silent scream etched in the sudden light. In the dimly lit hallway, dust motes dance in sunbeams through stained glass, illuminating Delilah's fearful stance. Delilah turns, her face a canvas of fear and desperation as she seeks assistance. "Help me," Delilah pleads, her voice a mere whisper against the backdrop of the silent, looming house. Ian's gaze pierces through her, a strange knowing in his eyes as he assesses the situation. Ian speaks, his words echoing in the hall. "The house, it likes you." The silence returns, heavy with the unspoken implications of Ian's cryptic words, leaving Delilah in dread. In the hallway of the Victorian house, Ian lunges, a predatory glint in his eyes. Delilah recoils, fear etched on her face as she stumbles back. The house groans, ancient wood, protesting as unseen forces stir. Doors slam shut with deafening booms, trapping Delilah in a nightmare. Ian's voice drips with dark invitation. "Let it in, Delilah. Let it take you." In a Victorian house hallway, Delilah wields a vintage camera like a weapon, her expression determined. Sunlight paints the hallway with vibrant colors as Delilah snaps photos, each flash revealing a distorted shadow of Ian. The shadow clinging to the wall shrieks, a grating sound that pierces the colorful silence. The shadow collapses into dust, illuminated by the sunbeams. As Delilah watches, camera still raised.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share.